Yo, this is KaeDee,
And this is David.
and we are the K&D Exchange, where we exchange music, and as a result, we exchange ideas, bridging the gap between old and new, with all original music produced by. Enjoy. What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to the K&D Exchange. Man, I feel so rusty at this. Feels like it's been a while. It has been a minute. We are on exchange number 25, and we apologize for not dropping an episode last week. We only get a few hours of summer every year, so we have to in the UK, so we have to really rinse it when it's there. Otherwise you've missed your boat. But yeah, so we are back. Exchange 25. I am your host, KaeDee, joined by my co-host, David. David, you know what I'm about to ask.
Yeah, man, all good. As it stands, it is Monday, the 26th of July. It's 2048. It's all good. It's all good out here. So yeah, man, it's what can I say?
Sick.
It's gonna be talking about some good shit in a minute.
Sick. Yes, I can't wait. All right, calm. For those who have stuck with us, thank you very much. We appreciate your support. For those who are new, basically our setup is that we exchange an album every week for the other person to listen to, and when one of us, we basically come in with one of us recommending an album that we are familiar with and the other person has not ever heard before, so it's their first time listening, and then we swap each week. So this week I gave David an album to listen to which he had never heard before, but I'm very familiar with, and it's kind of a what do we call it, bridging the gap between two different perspectives, familiarity and one coming in fresh off the boat. But yeah, so David, what album did I give you to listen to this week?
You gave me an album by MURS called A Strange Journey into the Unimaginable.
16th of March 2018.
2018, yeah.
Good
Yeah, man, to be real, Chris reminded me the other day that he actually made me listen to this album way back when. And I completely forgot. Dude, I completely forgot. Apparently I said I didn't really it didn't really hit me or whatever, at all.
Okay.
And then I listened to it this time, and just straight off the bat, I'll just sort of show my hand and say that this was a really really personal and a really sort of I can't think of the words, man, because we haven't podcasted in over a week.
Yeah.
But it felt like a really sort of in-depth and honest album. It was just from the first song onwards, I was rooting for this guy.
Yeah.
It was just so, it presented his struggles in such a sort of succinct but really honest and open way. He's gone through troubles, but there seemed good intentions behind a lot of his music. It's good vibes, a lot of this music, and his rapping ability is it's weird. I don't really feel like MURS is a rapper per se. I feel like he's more of he's somebody I'd go and listen to speak, but he just happens to rhyme with how he speaks. He's somebody that I think you can garner quite a lot of respect for in the way that he delivers a lot of messages and a lot of imagery really, really quickly. He's almost like a poet. He's almost like a speaker, just somebody you would go, a motivational speaker. That's what I'm trying to say. I just think that he's awesome.
Sure, yeah.
I really from the first song, I felt like I'm on his side. I want him to succeed. I want him to be all right. you know, and that's something that, you know, with the benefit of time and giving albums time to sort of like grow and stuff, and like for you and your perspective to change. Yeah, man, like it's just amazing that this didn't grab me and I forgot that I listened to it, but that all of a sudden you've given it to me. It's come back in rotation, and I like this album a lot. I love it. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Good.
Man.
That's what I wanted to hear. That is what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
100%.
It's yeah, go on.
I mean, yeah. No, I was gonna say mine was the opposite. When I first heard this, it was straight up. I mean, I was familiar with MURS before. I can't remember how. Oh, I think he had an album called MURS for President, which I listened to in 2008, I want to say.
Okay.
I expand my hip hop horizons. And he was one of those guys, and that album was on one of these lists of like top albums of that year. And I was like, it was around the time I was getting into people like Elzai and Black Milk and
son of a bitch,
Ninth Wonder as well.
Oh yeah.
And then I think a couple other solo ones. So I saw this one had been released, and I just listened to it on the day. I just thought, okay, yeah, there's probably be some good stuff in here. I was not expecting to just be hit back to back to back to back to back. The whole album, I just fully fell in love with it. Like I couldn't pick a bad song from it. I couldn't. I just kept wanting more from it. Everything was almost near perfect for me. I just couldn't, you know what I mean? Everything was so solid about it. It's got one producer from beginning to end, and yet there's still variation in the beats. Cover art is so simple. It's just them two sitting there. It's got a great name, and he's not overly technical or anything. He just kind of, like you said, speaks. And it all happens to rhyme, but it comes off so personable and so relaxed and so accessible. The beats are so well put together. And there's a whole range of topics he's discussing, and he goes from fun to deep to melancholic to just like jokey to introspective and all this sort of shit. Do you know what I mean? And
to all out fantasy as well.
Yeah, he's just great features on there as well, well spaced out, not too overbearing or anything like that. No one feels like they don't belong. Everyone adds, and the sequencing is great because it just flows well as well. And yeah, I mean, if you want to go through it, track by track.
Yeah, man, we will.
Yeah.
I don't think it was this album I listened to. It was For Never. I'm just looking at his albums now. I think it was For Never. I recognize the cover art. That didn't grab me. Yeah, that didn't grab me. That was the one.
I haven't heard that one.
I believe it's Ninth Wonder on that one.
Okay, yeah, because him and Ninth Wonder have like 4 albums, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's 4. Yeah. They have there's one with a grey, if you're looking at it now, there's one with a grey cover, right? And he's got like a flag over him and he's walking away or something. Is it called The Great Adventure or something like that?
Oh no, I've only got. Hang on.
That's the one I heard.
Okay, I can't see it, but I remember this from years ago, right? So MURS actually stands for something, though, doesn't it? It's like music.
Oh, does it?
Oh my goodness, I just had it as well. Like make underground. I think it's like make the underground like real shit or something like that. I think
that wouldn't surprise me.
I think that's what MURS means, or real, yeah, something like that. Anyway, it means something, and I'm scrabbling around the internet to try and find it.
That makes sense because actually, when I think about it, I always just think about MURS, and I'm just like, I'm so used to that just being his name. I don't actually know what his real name is, and I just thought it may be a shortened version of his real name, or just it is his real name, or I just thought, okay, it's a cool rap name. But he seems like the type that would put like an acronym for his name. Do you know what I mean?
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's so underrated. He's just such a solid storyteller. He's such a like a solid kind of just artist in general. I think, you know, he's got a great ear for beats. Um, he's quite prolific as well. Like he's got quite a few um albums under his belt.
Mm-hmm.
It's like almost every year. And I think even last year alone there was like two or three, um, but like with different producers or whatever. Um, and it's like he's consistently puts out quality to the point that I want to listen to them all. Do you know what I mean? It's not like some artists who kind of flood the game with albums, but they're not fully albums. They're like mixtapes where they're thrown together collections of songs just because they have them from the hard drive and they just put them out. And there's like maybe a few big songs on each one. Do you know what I mean? These albums feel like he just had multiple projects that his heart was really in. And it was like, okay, yeah, well, I'm going to put out these three this year because these are three projects I was really passionate about and I actually put my heart into, and they're all different from each other. So you might like one or two, you might not like the other one. Cool. You've got the other, you know, you've got the two other vibes. They're not all, it's not like if you listen to one album, you don't like it.
Yeah.
You won't be like, I don't want to listen to the other ones. It'll be like, okay, let me check out the other one because I know the other one will be a different vibe. Yeah, his discography is very, very, what's the word?
Dense. Extensive.
Extensive. That's the word. I was going to say varied, but it's that's not the word I was looking for. It's extensive. So there's a lot to dive into, which is good because he's a quality artist. You know?
Yeah, he's definitely somebody that you sort of root for. Like this, you know, I know for a fact I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna listen to other albums, and I'll be keeping an eye out for if and when he drops like another album.
Oh, 100%, man.
You know what I mean? Like he's just so sort of, yeah, man. He's just a really, really awesome like rapper. It's just, yeah, man. So many like things to get into on this album. But yeah, man. All right, cool. Let me get into it. So track number 1, The Unimaginable, featuring robots and balloons. Like from the first time that I heard this, I was completely I was just taken in because I couldn't believe how honest it was. Like I was like, dude, like I can't actually believe that you're going like sort of through this, and you know, it's very much like you know, it struck a chord as well. Like some of it, you know, I can certainly identify with, and I think that like a lot of people can, you know, pick out. You know, even if you haven't gone through exactly the same thing that he has, you know, I think that there's a lot of overlap here. There's a lot of times where everybody has felt that they don't actually feel like they can carry on. And I think that it's definitely brought up in the chorus, like especially when he says, I put one foot in front of the next, even when it seemed impossible to take the next step. I put one foot in front of the next, even when it felt like God put his foot on my chest. I put one foot in front of the next, and I was like, holy moly, like I'm just like, right.
So
okay.
simple and powerful, right?
Absolutely.
When God puts his foot on my chest, I still put one foot in front of the next, because that's how it feels sometimes.
But I do, for real. But and I do like the ending of the chorus where he's like, because life is just a battle in the shadow of death. I'm like, I wasn't expecting to go there. Like, you know, already, like already, like in this like one song, I've gone from like, you know, like a breakdown in marriage, but then, you know, you've met somebody else and you're happy, then to a miscarriage, to, you know what I mean? Like to feeling terrible, suicidal. And then all of a sudden you're sort of questioning like whether it's worth carrying on, but you just say, actually you carry on because you kind of have to. And because, you know, it's the way in which, you know, you're sort of programmed to, I think, mostly. But then, you know, it's to recognize that, well, hang on a minute, your life, you have to live your life and find the positive in it, because actually we're all finite beings. Like we're going to die one day. So it's just, you know, and he talks about like space and karma and flipping, you know, sowing seeds and having children. And this is song number 1, and I'm like, right, okay, like I I'm in, like I'm rooting for I'm in. I think it's a really, really good piece of music. The tune, I mean, it's just to be honest, the music, I don't really remember it. I remember the lyrics more than the
What,
actual
on this
music.
song or just in general?
In general, I don't
Oh, okay.
remember. I remember Superhero Pool Party.
Yeah, okay, cool. I know you say that.
Well, because you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Like I flip in.
yeah, that, yeah.
Basically,
We'll get to that one.
we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, yeah. I just knew it. I knew it. I knew it would be. I just knew it would be that song
Yeah,
because I mean it was for me too, and I know you well enough that I thought I almost could imagine you listening to it.
yeah. And this is the thing. I can imagine my son absolutely loving it. You
I
know,
thought that
when he's
too.
old
I
enough,
actually thought that too.
you
Yeah,
know, he'll definitely enjoy. You know, the sort of mad kind of yeah, the madcap
imagination of
adventures and stuff. Yeah, because we
yeah,
do
yeah,
stuff like that all the time when we have you know, imaginary stories and stuff like
sure.
that I do for him when he goes to bed. And we're always making stuff up. Like if I'll beatbox, for example, and he'll just start singing. Like we're always creating something. We're always doing stuff.
That's
So,
sick, man.
you know,
Yeah.
when he's older, like definitely I'll be playing that song to him. But
Oh,
anyway,
100%.
we'll get there. Right, number 2, Melancholy. Right. Okay. So I'm going to be diving into the lyrics a lot more on this one because
Nice.
I think
Cool.
that there's the thing is like on a podcast like this, like which is mainly based on, you know, feelings and interpretations and that we, you know, we're not going to get into like all of the salient points,
Mm.
especially of an album like this. We just have to kind of pick our punches.
Yeah.
Because there's just like every single song, there's just so much, man, so much.
Everyone should see the look on David's face right now. It's like the perfect blend of, oh, this is such good art, but oh, I have to now talk about it. It's like good and bad personified in one expression, like, and demeanor. Like I can really see it all on you.
It's because, man, like, oh, it's
Like you've got your head in your hands, but you're smiling.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? It's like the dichotomy of it. It's you're embodying it all. Like I guess it's a reflection of the music, I guess.
that's definitely it. You know,
Yeah.
glad my pain brings you happiness. But yeah, like I've written here, like the music sounds really, really good. Like I don't remember the tune, like I listened to it today, but it was positive sounding music. You know, like I really,
Yeah.
really liked it. But the subject is pretty low. Like it's super, super, super relatable. You know, I think the line of it that always sticks out to me is, you know, I don't want to die, but I don't want to be here, and like I'm reaching for a future that I cannot hold, and like I think just in those lyrics, right there, it says absolutely everything about
Yeah.
about this song, and it's like, you know what, we do have days like that, you know.
Yeah.
Hopefully you don't have many days like that, but I mean,
No,
we've,
for sure.
you know, I certainly have had days like that.
Mm.
And feelings like that, and it's not a nice place to be at all. And it's
No,
almost
not at
like,
all.
you know, when you've got the first song saying that he puts one foot in front of the other, and then it's just like you're just kind of like, right, okay, cool, like, all right, fine, we move on. And then you've got Melancholy, and you're like, right, so this is a stumbling block in life, right? So you know that
Yep.
you're meant to carry on. You know that, like, you know, tests have been put in front of you for you to overcome. But then there comes the emotional baggage with those tests as well. You know, sometimes you don't want to get up. Sometimes you just don't want to go. Like, God, I've had months where I've like hated waking up. You know, it's
Right.
just,
Yeah.
it is not a nice place to be. And it's just,
No, it's really not.
you know, I mean, oh my goodness. Here we go. This is 4 bars, right? And it took me years to get to this point where I don't want to die every day, but you can't put it in your mind to be down all the time because the sun gonna shine anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
thanks, man. And that's just in verse 1. Like, I'm not going
Yeah.
any deeper, like at all. Like than that. No, we'll leave it there.
I've
I
been
mean,
I've
go on.
been I've been telling my friends because I heard this album when it came out, so that was March. I then I went and had an internship, which then turned into my first job around June that same year. Yes, was that like 3 months later?
Yeah.
And there we had this Sonos thing where you could everyone had access to the app on their computer, and you could like queue up songs and stuff. You wouldn't have to link it to just one person's phone or anything, and it would play on the speakers in the room, which was great. And so sometimes we would suggest stuff, or sometimes we would just queue up music, or it would be someone's turn or whatever, or we just put on a playlist or whatever. And when I got a bit more comfortable, I did recommend this album to people. But I think because I spoke so highly of it, and because I kept recommending it, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, yeah, we'll get around to it. I'll get around to it. I don't think any of my friends have heard it still or listened to it. It still becomes this point. It's like this joke of like, like MURS gets brought up as this kind of like this joke, like kind of any album that I rate now, it's like, oh, but is it better than the MURS album or something like that? That happened for a while, and it was like, because I was saying it was like one of the best hip hop albums of that year, which I still stand by. Right from that year, I think it was my favorite one of that year, and I can't remember what it was going up against. Well, it was going up against J. Cole. It was going up against Eminem. It was going up against Pusha T and
Book of Ryan.
Book of Ryan as well. Yeah, it was going up against Book of Ryan. And but this one was like for replay value as well, and just how well it was put together. Book of Ryan is great, but like the length of it kind of meant that I had to be in the mood to really listen to it from beginning to end. Yeah, this one I could just put on. You know what I mean? Whereas I reckon if Book of Ryan was shorter, these two would be neck and neck.
I will agree with that, because that album had some absolutely amazing tracks. Mate, like absolutely,
100%. Like and there's no questioning that.
But for me, it's the the production it reached a level. You know, I'm late to this album, so I'm not going to say that I listened to it back in 2018. No. I only started listening to it this year. Well, a couple of months ago, actually. But the production on it's one of the highest I've ever heard and I've ever listened to. And I don't know what it is about it. It's just got this feel, I don't know. I don't know.
It's so solid. It's just something so well put together about it. You can't break it apart. You can't sit there and think, man, I wish they did this with the beat, or I wish they did it like this, or I wish they arranged it like this. I wish they used a different sound. It was just everything fits so nicely. This is the embodiment of being in the pocket for a hip hop album as well. And yeah, I remember that year it was my go-to, and it was released early. So like around March, and yet it didn't get knocked off the top spot for me. Like later on, as we got like deeper and deeper into the year.
Yeah, fair enough.
2018 had a lot of good albums. I remember coming out, a lot of good hip hop albums, and so I kept on pushing this one. I don't know if one of my friends did listen to it, but like kind of in the background, maybe they got through they probably didn't get through the whole thing. Maybe like the first couple songs, but it was like I don't really count that as a listen. So it's like. And I don't think they did either, to be fair. So it's like, I'm hoping that they listen to this episode and it will spur them on to listen to it fresh, without the kind of my over hyping it. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, why did I mention that? Because you said something about the depth of the album. That's it. Yeah, because you were only on verse 1 breaking down Melancholy.
That's it.
And that reminded me of how when I was trying to get people to listen, I was like, bruv, like it's so accessible and yet it's so deep at the same time. It has the depth.
It's so super deep. I thoroughly enjoyed this album. I really did.
I was really expecting you to be fair.
Well, it's because, got a good taste in music. No,
of course. Yeah.
No, but we do.
Yeah, minus that. I can't even remember their names.
Fucking hell. Look, you don't like Skindred. That absolute wiener. Like, I can't actually believe. I cannot believe I can't hear the reggae in it. They're smacking you in the face with it. It's like
It's just drowned out in all the bullshit.
you're like, well, anyway, I don't really care. I don't really care. Like, genuinely, one of these days, when I give you Slipknot, like, I swear to cry, like, you are gonna cry, okay? And like, I'm not gonna let you off the hook because I let you off the hook. I'm nice. But sometimes when you go, oh, and this song, nope. I'm like, nah, man, nope is not a review. You talk about this song now. I ain't letting you.
Bro.
Nah,
If the song's a week, then it's just like.
Set It Off is not a weak song. I'm just not having it. Like, it's not. It's one of the best tunes that they've done. Like, yeah. Anyway, you know what? No.
Don't worry.
It's not about fighting right now. It's not about fighting. I don't know.
MURS wouldn't want this. MURS wouldn't want this.
Yeah, he's not that guy. Well, he does say later on, like, if your girlfriend's family like hate me, then fine, like whatever. Like, I'll just duff them up. Like, it don't matter.
I quoted that lyric actually, yeah, in my notes. I love what he says.
But check me out. Listen, like actively remembering lyrics and shit, like from an album. Yeah. So it has made a proper.
It's hitting.
Yeah. It's made a really, really good impact, a deep impact, one would say, like the movie.
That's good.
It's like one of the worst movies. I don't think I've ever seen that film. Actually, I've seen bits of it.
I've heard of it. What Deep Impact?
Yeah, the poor man's Armageddon. Like the 90s was a weird old time, right? Because we had like a couple of asteroid movies, couple of big budget like alien movies. Like 90s was a strange, like a weird obsession with Jamaicans, like with like Cool Runnings.
With Cool Runnings and all that sort of stuff. Like
it's one of the most
thrown in.
Do you know what? Like Cool Runnings is one of the most offensive films. I used to love it as a kid. Why not get four Jamaicans? Like for one, because the accents like are offensive. Like, and these are black people doing it. It's still offensive to me. And I'm you know what? Even if they were, even if it was like Russell Crowe, like blacking up to do like a Jamaican accent, it would still be as offensive as it was. So.
I cannot remember that film, man. I must have watched it during a time where my childhood memories are just gone. Because
it's not worth it. Don't worry. Like, it's so funny. Like, I don't know if you've seen Predator 2. They had a weird obsession with... with oh my goodness, what's his name? Willie. Not Mr. Willie. His name is like... Oh, I can't remember his name now. He was a shaman anyway. He's a baddie in it. And he's got... And he's just like, when you look into the eyes of the demon, and he comes from the other side, and he throws these like chicken bones into this drum.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. I remember different parts of that film. Oh man!
So what are you doing? Like, why would you make that film anyway?
I never noticed these things, obviously, when I first watched them when I was young.
No, not at all. I haven't even seen Predator in ages. I was actually thinking about it the other day, like, actually, why was that Jamaican guy in there? But anyway. And they're also in Bad Boys 2 as well. Oh, are they Haitians?
Was it Bad Boys 2?
Bad Boys 2, yeah, the guy with the big, long, blonde dreadlocks. Or were they were like Dominicans or something like that?
Maybe I'm thinking of another, because you're right. Actually, it's weird. The 90s did have this weird obsession with throwing in these characters.
Yeah,
part of me is even thinking that I know, like, well, I'm also thinking like even like early 2000s as well.
Definitely, yeah.
Part of me is like wondering if. Even like The Matrix, because we watched those 3 films the other day.
So did I, because they're on Netflix now.
Yeah.
I watched them all.
Yeah, I kind of tuned out towards the end of the second one, and my partner kind of just kept on watching it anyway. So I was like in and out, kind of seeing it.
Sure.
But the first one, what a film! But
it's unbelievable.
So good, right?
It's even better now we're older. Like, it's unbelievable.
So good. Like, I always thought it was cool, but I never realized how good it was. Like, on a deeper level.
Yeah. And also, like, how good Lawrence Fishburne is in that first film. He's exceptional in that first film.
I've been watching him in Blackish. I don't know if you've seen that show.
No, I haven't.
So he plays like so it's about a black family who are it's got Tracy Ellis Ross in it and this guy who was in Kangaroo Jack. I don't know the actor's name. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I think I do, because I've seen adverts for it. Yeah.
Yeah, so you know his name as soon as you know who he was as soon as you see a picture of him. But it's got him, and then it's got one of Will Smith's aunties from Fresh Prince. So like
it's got Teddy. It's Teddy, isn't it? From
is that his name, Teddy?
No. He's not. He's Teddy from like Hang Time. He's the fat guy that's lost loads of weight. Is it?
Yeah, he looks a bit better now. Yeah, he's. I don't know his name. I'm gonna look it up.
Anthony.
It probably is, because I'm pretty sure.
Like Tony Anderson, Mr. Anderson, like the Matrix. It's Anthony Anderson. I think
that's what you're putting together. Blackish. Yeah, Anthony Anderson.
Yeah,
that's right. You're 100% right.
I know Ting, man. I know Ting, man.
But yeah, and and then Lawrence Fishburne plays like the so it's like about a black family who are who live in a nice well-off family.
Yeah.
Well-off kind of neighborhood house in LA, I think. And the dad lives with them, so that the Anthony's character's dad, he's like the granddad. He's a completely different character in that, because he's like the typical hard, kind of stubborn, no frills, like black granddad who's like, oh, you're too soft on your kids, back in the day, this and that. And they do flashbacks where he's just like, his son will just fall over and crack his knee, and he's like, just walk it off, you'll be all right, that kind of thing, just tough love kind of thing. Never goes to the doctors, doesn't need it, all this sort of shit. It was so weird seeing him go from that and then watching The Matrix, forgetting he was in The Matrix, and seeing him in that role. I kept expecting him to be really hard on Neo, really like.
Well, he was though. Else. He was, yeah, but like
so
in
a different way.
Yeah,
but definitely. Like in a different way, not in a caring way.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, you can, because his performance in The Matrix is so layered and so good.
It's stellar.
Yeah, you really feel that feeling of he's the leader and there's a reason why, but you can tell that he still cares, even when he's being hard or just kind of being a bit coy or not letting his emotions out. You still feel that he's genuine and he cares. And there's a lot that goes into that. And Lawrence Fishburne, what a guy.
He was amazing. Like, just one final thing on him in The Matrix. Like, it's all of the above what you said, but it's also tinged with a layer of like real excitement. Like, I found him, and it's just this underlying like, all right, fine, I'm going to basically give him a crash course and stuff. And I love like the training sequence, like in the dojo, where he's just like, I know kung fu, and he's like, show me, and they fight. And I love when he beats Neo and Neo's panting and stuff, and he's like, why did I beat you? He's like, do you think that's air you're breathing in, this, that? And I was like, he's just so he's amazing in that film. He's so good. Like, honestly, I was blown away. And the like the sort of deeper, like the deeper meanings of the Matrix and stuff. Like, I knew them, I was aware of them when I watched them, but when I was younger. But since going back to it now, I'm like, wow, it's like I'm seeing it again for the first time.
Yeah,
but even
that's how I felt.
Even the second film, like, I thought, like, what I remember from it was like the action film, the action sequences were the thing that stood out. Absolutely right.
Yeah,
that film does the action so well, it's unbelievable. Especially the highway scene. It's perfect.
So well done.
It's
so well done.
Perfect. Absolutely. It's multi-tiered, multi-leveled. Like, there's so much going on. But I also really enjoyed the stuff with the Kentucky Fried Chicken dude at the end. The maker, the architect.
Oh, the architect. Yeah.
Yeah. I even enjoyed that because I didn't realize the choice at the time, which was, he says to Neo, look, through one door, like, you save everybody, and through the other door, you basically save Trinity, and then like the Matrix goes to ruin. And I didn't realize that was the thing that he kind of ultimately did. He was like, right, okay, cool, I choose this woman over the world. And all the other 5 ones before had chosen to save like Zion and the Matrix and all of that stuff. So I didn't realize that he was truly the one by going with his gut,
by going with the other one,
and blowing up the world. I was like, right, okay, which leads into obviously the third film and Smith's taken over, but it's just it's just not a good film. But anyway,
the final one,
it's just not done. Because like the world's falling apart, right? And then you got some characters that are just like, our outer defensives have fallen. We're all gonna die, and it's like, where's your emotion? Like,
literally.
Like, shit, motherfucker, we gonna die. So like, I needed something like that, but yeah.
What I like about the action scenes and stuff as well is that they have like a meaning and purpose behind them, because you feel for the characters. It's like character driven, so it's like you care for their motives and you care for what they want. So when it comes to the action scenes, you're not only are they just well shot and well choreographed, but you feel like, okay, I need them to win this. I need them to be able to not just like destroy the other person, but even just to fight their way so they can get out and do what they need to do, because you're rooting for them. You know, that's what I've always loved about like the Spider-Man films, at least the first ones, because all the action scenes, not only were they beautifully choreographed, like as if it was a dance, but you felt like Peter Parker was in there fighting. Do you know what I mean? Because you've grown with their character so much throughout the film. Sam Raimi was so clear on like creating that character bond, that when they came to the action scenes, it wasn't just an empty kind of, I've stolen your girl and I'm going to throw her off the bridge. And
it wasn't tropey. It was
like, Peter genuinely needs to fix whatever this is, right? And figure it out.
I did think the first film, like the stakes when he finds out that it's, you know, his mate's dad, it's Norman Osborn, and he's just so sort of hell bent on beating Spider-Man. He's like, here, hold this grenade, and blows his ass up, and then ends up getting stabbed and all of that with the glider. I was like, that is really shocking. And you actually bought the sorrow that the Spider, like, I must admit, like I love the first Spider-Man film. I haven't seen it since then, to be fair.
I've seen it so many times.
I
could quote it back to front.
Like you know, and rest his soul, the Macho Man Randy Savage is in it. So love that guy. But yeah, man, bloody hell, films. Just one thing as well, right? So Keanu Reeves has got to be one of the most hardened motherfuckers you don't want to deal with. Like, the guy obviously knows like kung fu and shit. You need to see John Wick, my friend, because Keanu Reeves, he's done 3 films, right? Oh my goodness. Oh, he's so good at judo, man. He's so good. Right. Anyway, but yeah, Keanu Reeves would kill any one of us, like, if we decided to take him on, because he did like the Man from Tai Chi. He did like, he can fight with a sword. Like, he's done training.
It's a good thing that he seems like a calm, collected guy.
Yeah.
So, you know,
maybe you don't know these celebs, mate. You don't know.
We have spoken about that. Refer back to our Drake discussions in plural.
Anyway. He is suspect. Anyway, right, okay. We've digressed enough.
We haven't even got through. Song 3.
Number 3, man. Right. So this is actually, I do remember the music, especially this one, Midtown. Right.
Oh yeah.
Featuring John Givers. Wicked tune, like, immediately. Like, this is, you know, when you have a title of a song and it is so perfect to the, it's like Midtown. Yep. Because what else would it be? What else would it be called?
What else would it be? 100%.
I mean, I like the chorus. I wasn't expecting like the tune to go the way it did. I love the bass line. It's simple and it's effective. Like, I love it. This is a brilliant song. I mean, oh my goodness. I think one of my favorite lines of like life affirming rap is this one, like, guided by the Most High, I'm far from worthless, I survived, I'm present with a purpose, to challenge the status quo, I've done my service. Nice. MURS, you're killing me. This by the way, like, is it's 100% in the top 5 songs on this album. That one.
Sure.
I mean, boy, yeah, it's just perfect.
Nice.
Number 4, featuring Tech Nine.
Tech Nine,
which I was able to, like, when I was listening to it, I was like, that sounds really familiar, and I actually managed to guess his voice. Like, I'm so proud of myself. I just like the fact that it's just honest. Like, people that don't like him, he feels the same. Like, actions have an equal and adverse reaction. This is what it is. You know, I think that, you know, he obviously has like a belief in God and like, I don't know. I can't say that he's like a Catholic or whatever religion he is, right? But I do think there is especially when I was growing up, there was this kind of attitude, like this turn the other cheek thing that, like, you know, you can kind of like push your luck with people who have faith, right?
Sure.
And it's just very much like it felt like a kickback to that. Like, well, no.
Yeah.
I will hand you your ass.
Like, right.
It's not a problem. It might not be the right thing to do. Like, violence isn't always the answer, but it is an answer sometimes. So
sometimes,
don't worry about it. Okay? We can get into a little thing if you want. You don't want it. But you know, I kind of like that sort of, you know, he's a chill guy, but just present good vibes, mate, because you're only going to get what you get back. Like, he seems to be like the agent of karma in this song, and I quite like that, because I actually really identify with that. I used to be a very, very sort of forgiving individual and always try and see the best in people. Now, like, as I'm older, like, I think my patience is just gone. Like, I am not like that anymore. I'm very much like, I'll give you a chance, but if you display like behavior that I'm not enjoying, I'm out. I'm out. Like, I don't business with people that way anymore, you know?
Right,
You know, maybe been burned too many times before, or just seeing that, hang on a minute, my energy is better spent elsewhere. Like, instead of being pissed off by somebody's actions, well, sod it, cut them out. You don't need to be pissed off anymore. Become an expert in, you know, cutting dickheads out. But, you know, with this song, though, like, I like it, but I don't love it, like, at all.
Okay.
I could... like, I could cut this one out, but I do understand from a standpoint, because we're getting a full kaleidoscope of MURS's emotions right now. Like, you know, song number 4, we're in a different, you know, fourth mindset. It's completely, it's so varied what I'm going through right now. Also, like, his delivery on this reminds me of Eminem, and I wouldn't be able to tell you why. But there's just some little bits here and there. I hear flicks of like Eminem, and I'm like,
prime Eminem, or like
prime Eminem.
Oh, okay.
Early Eminem, prime Eminem.
Early Eminem. I'll go back and listen.
Oh, Eminem, what happened, mate? I saw a tweet today. Said, I don't know if I can find it, but it had like relapse recovery. Music to be murdered by and one other album, and it said, name a worse 4-album run in history.
Oh wow, that's cap. Though if Relapse is on utter cap, because Relapse was a great album, was the last, I think, great Eminem album, like great Eminem album.
I wouldn't say it's great. I'd say it's very good.
I'd say I think it's great. Like,
fair play,
cut out a couple songs maybe.
Definitely.
But that felt like the last Eminem feeling album.
Agreed.
Right. Again, we spoke about this before, but it's just unfortunate. He shouldn't have listened to the critics. He shouldn't have listened to what everyone said, because then he made Recovery, and it made his career bigger again after his hiatus. But when you look back through his discography, I like Marshall Mathers LP too, but then it's like that's like up, but then Revival is way back down again. And then,
dude, like, what it is, it's what I've said before. Eminem was best when he was counterculture and taking the piss out of culture. Then he became the culture. He became so intrinsic. Like, in fact, the culture sort of went around him like a flipping, I don't know, was like a jacket that he just put on, and he was so integral to it and holding it up. And that's the problem with Eminem. But anyway, this is MURS' stuff. So, but anyway, number 5, Powerful, featuring Propaganda, I think.
That beat, yo. That beat.
I mean, this song is phenomenal.
So hip hop.
Oh, it's just paying homage. I mean, like, he's talking about like the Beasties and Eazy-E and loads of the greats that have passed. Like, he even you know, 2 of the Beastie Boys, like I think it's Ad Rock and
Mike D.
Mike D, yeah, that are still alive, but he talks about MCA that passed away. MCA was always my favorite. I loved his voice. I really love his voice.
I think you've said that. Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I just like the Beastie Boys in general. I've been listening to them a lot. They're so fun, man, and they're
License
so good.
It was such a great album.
My God, 3 MCs and 1 DJ. The album version is just, it's so simple. It's so simple, and I just think it's brilliant. I love the way their voices dovetail. Anyway, back to the song.
Sure.
But this is where I went. Like, after I listened to this song, I stopped the album and I was like, right, I'm going to go and listen to Beastie Boys now and just relive like some of that early sort of stuff that I used to love. And then I came back to the album and I was like, right, blimey. But, you know, he's just name dropping the pillars of hip hop, you know, and I do like the fact that he sort of like cusses a bunch of the newer guys and stuff when he says rappers act like rappers, but they're still singers. And I'm like, Drake. Auto-tune and making music, auto-tune and making music with no meaning. And
I knew you were going to pick that out as well.
Dude, this guy is like, he's like us, KaeDee. Well, I suppose more me than you, because you on Drake's lap twerking. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
For new listeners, that is a grand exaggeration. I've been very fair in my assessment of Drake.
To be fair, you have been. I'm just
I've been. I have been. Yeah, but no, I get what you mean. Like, because what's the actual lyric? Auto-tuning with no meaning.
Auto-tune and making music with no meaning.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that is like a gross sort of misconception as well, though, because, like, you know, people say that like TPain used auto-tune and this, that, and the other. Well, actually, he made sick music though. Listen to Buy You a Drink. Like, listen to the music. It's unlike anything I've heard since. I've never heard anything like it. That weird fuzzy like electro bass line that he's got going on in it.
Yeah.
Who else has done that? Like, it's anyway. He was awesome.
Big up TPain.
Big up TPain. I think
doesn't matter what Usher says. We don't care. We don't care what Usher says.
My gosh, he's not even relevant. Hasn't been relevant for about 12 years, has he?
It's unfortunate, yeah, because he's another classic guy, but, you know, made such great music. But I don't think I would say he is that relevant anymore.
Hasn't been relevant for at least a decade, probably.
Nah, he dropped an album in 2018 as well, and again, it was someone at work that suggested it to me. Otherwise, I probably never would have heard it.
And
who knew it was coming? Who knew it was going to come out?
Yeah, but let's be fair. I mean, like Usher Raymond, he can sing, he can dance, he can do it all. He's unreal. I think as a vocalist as well, having seen him live as well. Like,
you said that,
yeah, dude. Like,
well,
brilliant.
This is the thing. Someone can be a great artist and still not relevant. You know what I mean?
Oh, for real.
Relevance is based on other things like cultural factors and all that sort of stuff, you know, so you can still be great at what you do. Yeah, exactly. You know, and your style might usher out, but you might then have your own little niche, you know. I wouldn't say, I'm trying to pick an example, like, I don't know, I wonder if someone like Ghostface is necessarily relevant, or if he just has his own, I don't know if that's a good example, but he has his own niche, and he therefore, when he drops stuff, he has his own fan base, he has a great kind of following, because he just puts out consistently good music, but it's not like he's moving the needle on what's happening in the mainstream or in the zeitgeist.
That's true.
Like that. You know,
but he's got clout.
In that case. He's got a lot of clout. Though,
he's got 100%. Clout, which is different to Usher, because I think that clout has disappeared, because even a lot of the stands and that won't necessarily care because they've got other people that will fill the gap and have filled the gap. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I think with Ghostface, he's got a loyal bunch of people, myself included, that will listen to absolutely everything that he drops and will recognize what kind of artist he is. And he's very much in his own lane. I mean, there are varying degrees, I guess, of relevance. Like, for me personally, I'm out of the sort of male singer R&B thing. Sure. And I have been for a while because I don't really get anything from it personally.
Sure. Yeah, So it could be hard to gauge what's
shifting
the needle and stuff.
Yeah, I can only go on feeling, really. I think that's the only thing that we really can go on with regards to that. Maybe if we had like a fan like tell us, Usher Raymond's the greatest thing ever, and he always moves the needle and stuff. But like, all right, cool. Like, I'm all right.
That'd be So maybe we're just out of the loop on a certain part of the culture or whatever. But I don't see him doing that much. I don't know. Maybe he's a bit relevant still. Like, he's still there. His name's still there. When he gets brought up by TPain in an interview.
That's exactly it. Free advertising, and it's just like, who gives a fuck what Usher said? You made better music, TPain. Like you've actually contributed to the industry and the art form. It's way more times.
It's unfortunate because we're talking about the guy who made Confessions and
8701.
You remind me in 8701, but
amazing.
TPain. TPain created a whole culture shift, and then fucking Usher went and made OMG or whatever that song was called.
Oh my god! He tried that. Anyway, look, I ain't wasting no more time. I hate that song. But anyway,
trust me.
Back on Powerful, like big topics that he's talked about. I stand for the flag and stand for my people. That's not a contradiction. I'm not a fan of evil. Most of these rappers is evil like politicians.
Bruh.
When I heard that, I was like, MURS, I'm your guy. I am your guy. Like, well said. Like, he even, I say that this is the best song of the album so far. Like, for me, I could not believe it. The references. There's one as well, like a Star Wars Rogue One reference that I've got to say it. I've got to say
Rogue One reference.
Yeah.
Shit, did that movie come out before that?
Yeah, Rogue One was 2016, 2017, I think. Here we go. Oh my goodness. So most of these rappers is evil as these politicians, flexing on their own folks who ain't got a pot to piss in. Still they loving on the bad guy. Try to be the hero. My people tell me to stand by, because I don't rap about the coonery. I'm Rogue One, standing like Diego on his lunacy. So Diego Luna, I love it. And then he says like, ergo, my earth go Urso, full circle. Come on, Urso, Jin Urso, Galen Urso. I was like, yeah, like I couldn't believe it. I had to like rewind it again and again. I was like, well played, hip-hop, man. Well played, and
yeah.
And I do. Do you know what? I do like the line as well. Like, if you got better ideas than I am Edison, electrifying and defining true music medicine. Oh my goodness, MURS, you're doing that.
Stop killing it, man.
When have you known me to go so deep into lyrics on an album?
True that.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, this
doesn't happen.
Normally I'm like, the feeling and all of that. Normally I'll fill out my review with like filler and shit. I'm going in deep. This is awesome. What a song.
I'm so glad.
Track number 6, Lollipops.
G Lollipops.
Is it? Oh, okay. It's a bit of a banger.
What G stands for, though?
I've got no idea. Gay Lollipops? I doubt it.
It does say it, but I can't remember why.
Yeah, it's just to me. This is flexing again. Another part of his brain that he's just letting us into. This is awesome. Then number 7, Superhero Pool Party. I got a rush to get there. I just said this is imagination. It's a nerd pleasure to listen to.
Bruv.
That's all I'm going to say. The fact that go on.
No, I was saying when I first heard it, I wish I could go back and listen to it again for the first time.
Oh, this, to be honest, the fact that he knows that Black Panther and Storm actually get together and then they're there flexing at the pool party, and I'm like, you
So
actually
nerdy,
know,
innit?
like you know your comics.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't know that, but I didn't know
yeah,
that that was a connection. Like, I thought you just kind of did it for the. Oh,
no,
that's
no, no,
sick. That
no.
makes it even better.
They really get together. I think they got married. Um,
Oh,
yeah. I mean, honestly, dude, like, and he blends Marvel and DC and stuff. I mean, this is beautiful imagery. Okay, this is, that I would want to
yeah,
go to this flipping.
yeah. This superhero pool party
Do you know what
sounds
I mean?
sick.
Like
Like I can imagine
Starfire
it.
and Wonder Woman, like getting rowdy and drunk and stuff. Like, yeah, man, all these
Yeah,
superhero people getting mash up, man. It'd be well good.
that's yeah. Such a good song, man. I just love the beat as well.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
I
just
like the fact that the song is
yeah,
bookended, at the start and the finish with him having a conversation
with
with
his son. Yeah,
with his kid. Yeah, it's
he was like, "Fuck
brilliant.
that, Spider-Man's not there," or something like that, or so and so's not, Black Panther's not invited, or something like that. Can't remember what he said. Or he says, "Fuck Spider-Man," or he
Yeah,
says, "Fuck
something
Black
like that.
Panther."
Yeah, it's Spider-Man that he doesn't like. So my son would be crestfallen at that.
Oh, is your
What do you
Spider-Man your?
mean Spider-Man wouldn't be? Yeah, man. Well, we let him watch Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So
Oh,
with Miles
classic.
Morales,
Yeah,
and I mean the
amazing.
film is stunning anyway,
Oh
but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just it's so awesome. Like
So good, man.
even I was the first time I saw it, I couldn't believe just how taken in by it. And he started messing
Yeah,
around like my son because it's what kids do. They start getting restless. It's like
yeah.
sit still, man. I gotta find out what fucking happened. What you fucking moving for? But it's, you know what I mean. Like, and I think it treads that fine line of like adult and it's more adult than it is kids. I think like
It
the fact
definitely
that
is. Yeah.
Norman Fisk killed.
Oh yeah, Fisk. Yeah.
I mean, and I love the fact that they made him like so unbelievably massive. It's like, yeah, okay, cool. You're watching a
It,
comic book,
yeah. Do you know? I'd love to see more films made in that style, where it's like, because I love how it looks like the comic books, but just animated, like 3D. Like you can see the little
Correct.
dots and stuff in the background, and then they have
Yeah,
I don't even know what they are, but then they have the speech bubbles every now and then
yeah,
coming up and going from panel to panel, and it's just like, man, imagine, because I think there's going to be a second one,
yeah, yeah. They've
but
already done it, I think.
yeah, and I think Marvel are bringing out a new show to Disney called What If, where
Yeah,
it's like an
yeah,
animated thing, right? Where they imagine different scenarios. So if so and so, if Iron Man got saved by Killmonger,
yeah. If
in that
Thanos
very
was
first,
Captain America, or like
some
if
shit like that, yeah,
you should
you
read
know,
some of the comics like of stuff like that. Like, oh
yeah,
mate, there is.
it's so good, right? It's so interesting.
It's so weird. Like, there's one. It's almost like a what if. It's almost like an alternate dimension. It's called a Marvel Earth X, and
Oh,
it's one
okay,
of the honestly, it's one of the best. Like, I haven't really read like a lot of comics. I've read
right,
the entirety of Spawn. That's
okay,
amazing. But apart from that, I've read like Civil War or Batman to Kingdom Come by like DC and Death of
right,
Superman and stuff like that. So I've read like a few of the big ones. But Earth X is one that I randomly saw it, picked it up. It's one of the best comics I think I've. It's stellar. It's so different to like
nice,
anything that you've ever like experienced.
sure.
And that's all I'm going to say like on that. But yeah, what if stories? Yeah, totally. I'm all
Yeah,
about it. You know what I mean?
yeah, but that comic book kind of animation, like bringing that to life,
Yeah,
and then just it being a Spider-Man movie, and then the main character is black, and he's a black Spider-Man, and no one cares.
black
Everyone's
and black and
completely okay with
Latino.
it. Black and Latino, that's right,
Yeah,
right,
it's
and forget that part. But the whole Spider-Man fandom doesn't seem to give a shit. They're just like sick.
they did though. I remember when Miles Morales, when he was first child, however many
Or what
years ago
in the
now,
comic
in the
books?
comics, and people were like, well, yeah, but Spider-Man's like, but the thing is, that's not racism. That's just you've changed the status quo, and then like Marvel
Yeah,
just turned around. I think it was Robert Kirkman. No, not Robert Kirkman, because I can't remember who the artist was, but he basically turned around and said, deal with it. Miles Morales
yeah,
is your guy now, and
yeah.
people got on with it because he's completely different to Peter Parker. It's just we've had 50 years of Peter Parker, so why don't we try and do something? And I think, you know, he's not main Marvel anyway, is he? Like Miles Morales is different dimension anyway. I think
exactly, he's a different dimension. That's the whole point of the Spider-Verse, right? The multiverse. Yeah. There's different. I mean, there's like Spider-Gwen, so there's a female.
There's
Spider-Man,
the Spider 2099. Yeah, my son
right.
is obsessed with Spider-Ham.
Like that was an actual comic book, which is crazy that we're in a climate where that kind of niche, and the Japanese one as well, that kind of niche,
that one's awesome.
Spider-Man renditions actually got put into a mainstream superhero film. Like that wouldn't have been able to be done back in when, I don't know, the first couple Spider-Man films came out, because superhero movies were still kind of finding their feet. Like Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, like, they were like the anomaly, right? Because you had like those horrible like Fantastic Four movies.
You had X-Men. You had Blade before all of that, but anyway.
Yeah, and Green Lantern and stuff, which, you know, apparently weren't great. Daredevil.
Never seen it.
Yeah, I've never seen them either, but apparently they were not great. Whereas now we're in this like golden age of superhero stuff where we get full TV shows, like big budget ones like Loki and stuff. And it's just, they're really fleshing out stuff from the comic books, which is crazy.
Definitely.
Like minor characters and stuff, which is sick. So the fact that you get this pig Spider-Man in a mainstream Spider-Man movie, it's sick. But
they've got an animal dimension, haven't they? Like they've got, that's where Peter Porker comes from. Like they've got like
Peter Porker,
they've got like all kinds of weird dimensions, boy. Like, and that's the beauty of Spider-Man, though. I mean, since watching the films, since watching the cartoon in the 90s, so I was just inundated with all of this crap. I was just like, this is amazing. You know what I mean?
About you're referring to those Madam Web.
The Spider-Verse one. Yeah, when you had like
the Scarlet Spider-Man, the Armor Spider-Man, the one with several arms. Then there was the Spider-Man that actually had no powers. I remember all that.
Yeah, man. And then like Spider-Man also was put in charge of like a massive sort of like chess battle where it was like him, Captain America, Storm, the Thing, like Iron Man, I think's there. Like he's
right
in charge of these heroes, and then like he's against like Dr. Octopus and the Rhino and I don't know, the Mandarin and all of this. It's just man, like that cartoon went wavy. And so you need to understand, like in the 90s, like genuinely I was happy as a pig in shit. Like, come on. You had Batman the Animated Series, which is one of the greatest things I've ever seen. You then had X-Men, you had Spider-Man.
X-Men was good as well.
The Marvel Power Power Hour with like Iron Man and the Hulk. You had the Fantastic Four cartoon.
Well.
Honestly, when they would just fight like Galactus and shit, and you're like, wait a minute, I like the concept of Galactus was so mind blowing to me. Like, what do you mean he eats planets? What do you mean he can teleport? What is his power? Yeah. What's the power cosmic? Why does he need a herald? Like, I don't make me understand this. But anyway, Galactus is a universal constant. He restores balance to the universe, which is a pretty cool idea. But anyway, we have digressed.
Marvel. Yeah, well, I'm glad it came from that song.
Can you believe it? Like, if MURS ever listens to this, like, thank you, dude, for like, this is
like reigniting that.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I got a son, you know, and another one on the way. So,
mad.
It's mad. Yep. So, you know, we are. I have to be clued in to all this hero stuff. Like, quite luckily for my son, I am. Just because I'm not going to lie, I've loved it. I've always loved it. I love stories. Yeah, I've always loved comics and shit, and you know, cartoons, whatever. I'll never change. So
I love cartoons. I love comics. I love animated movies. There's something about them. There's just things about all of that. I don't know if it's an escapism thing, but something about it just hits me in the right way.
It's being taken to another world. Like, I think that's why, like, one of my favorite Marvel films is Guardians of the Galaxy, just for its sheer escapism. It's one of my favorites.
It's fun at the same time as well, you know?
Oh, it's so fun. It's so stupid. And it's just, it doesn't take itself seriously. It's like a space opera. It's kind of like a funnier version of Star Wars. I flipping love Star Wars, like the originals. Like, I need that kind of like science fiction. I love stuff like that. So Yeah,
100%.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Right. Track number 8.
Whiskey and Patron.
Patron. It's a very, very chilled song.
Yeah. I love that delayed beat. Boom.
Yeah.
The little reverse thing. It's so cool.
It's
yeah.
What I like about it though is again another facet of his personality. And dude, like every person, I was going to say like every man needs his alone time sort of thing, but no, I think every person needs that time to just go out, unplug from normal life, just be with your friends and all of that, and just put your phone down or don't even take it with you. Just go and be free, And I don't think he means it as disrespectfully as it comes off. But when he says "bitch, leave me alone," it's just like in that. To me, it's like in that moment of frustration, like just like I'm out. Fucking don't text me. I don't need. I'm joined, with you.
We've all been there.
Yeah, I'm joined with you like at the hip, like all the time. You need to give me an hour. So fuck off.
Don't call my phone. It can't be that important.
And if it is important, by all means, blow my phone up. If it's not life or death, I don't want to know. Okay, so leave me alone.
Let me have my time. And that goes both ways.
That is for women too. Like, absolutely.
Men, stop calling up your women if they're out. Just let them be.
Do you know what my wife actually said to me one time? She went, David, like whenever you go out, like I always, she does send like a couple of messages like, oh, did you get there? Okay. Yeah, I'm here. It's cool. Okay, fine. Text me when you're leaving. Just like stuff like that. Right. So I'm normally cool with that. When she goes out, none of that. Normally, nah, I don't, no. You'll message me if it's important, like you're on your own time sort of thing. And if it's getting late and I'm just like, right, cool, hun, I'm going to bed, like I'll leave the light on or whatever.
Okay.
That's usually when I'll message her. Otherwise, nah. It's the difference between men and ladies, I think. I'm normally just so happy she's out of my life.
Oh man. Oh, that's
yeah, boy.
Out of my life is kind of a stronger reaction than for the one night she might go out.
Nah, man, but it's just for those moments, you need that hour or two of just disconnection for a bit.
Yeah.
I think it's healthy to have that as well, because let's have it right. I probably drive her mad, but anyway.
Yeah. I feel that.
Track number 9, A Lean Story.
Story.
It's just what it is, isn't it? It's just a lean story. He took some shit, went on stage, got in a fight.
And that was that.
And that was it. Next song.
Such a good storyteller, man.
The thing is, like, it's really funny. Like, you feel like you're in the car with him. You feel like you're
100%.
You're totally taken along for the ride. It's just brilliant. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, man. Track number 10, Low Fine Nights. So, I'm all about this tune. I'm all about the music of this one. I can hear it in my head now. It's like subdued and muted instruments.
Yeah.
It's super heavy topic though. Like it's really weird. Like it's like a lo-fi night, like a low energy night, but it's like that your brain is sort of slow turning and you're just sort of like freewheeling down into a negative point of like, heavy topic of suicide. Right. But then it's also quite hopeful. And I think like in the lyric where he says, take 10 paces, then turn around and shoot your fears in their faces. I was like, that's really hopeful and
really hopeful, yeah.
I've never really thought about drawing on my fears like a gunslinger in the Western, taking 10 paces, turn around, boom. And you're like, I've never thought about my fears in that sense. And then like ever since I'm like, that's a really cool way of looking at stuff.
That.
Of visualizing.
Yeah.
I think there are mental exercises where I used to make this joke where I used to get like really pissed off, right? I used to pretend that I'd visualize like all my anger going into a little pink balloon and then it just filling up with all of my anger. And then you just let it go. and it just floats up into the sky. And then like you can either, I don't know, you can Viking arrow it, you can blow it up with an Uzi, whatever, right? But that little pink balloon of rage just gets blown up and then it's gone, right? And that used to be like a bit of a coping sort of mechanism or something. Just like sometimes if I was pissed off, I used to work in like the Home Office. That's what I used to do a lot. I used to be letting a lot of pink balloons go because, boy, there'd be a lot of red mist everywhere, boy. Like
I always
bloodshed.
heard about the Home Office. Yeah.
And working there. But yeah, like I just think that it's a wildly hopeful song. Like I've just not ever visualized like genuinely like a Westworld kind of, the Man in Black sort of drawing down and shooting your fears. And I think that's a really cool way of.
Still need to watch that show, but yeah, no, you're right. Like
you don't.
No, don't I?
I watched season 1, which I thought was really good. Season 2, however, nosedives.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it becomes like all the men are dumb and all the women are like elite, and it's like no, like one of the best characters in the first season becomes just led around by a leash, basically, like throughout the second season because he's malfunctioning and whatever. It's really disappointing. And also in the first season, you got Anthony Hopkins, who is blinding. Like he's so, for a little kindly old man, he is so terrifying.
Does he plays Odin, right? He plays Thor's dad.
That's correct. Yeah.
I was like, that's who it is. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Hannibal. If you've never seen Silence of the Lambs,
yeah,
I do recommend it just for Anthony Hopkins because it's one of the most chilling performances I've ever seen of an actor. And there's no special effects or whatever. It's just the way that he's got these piercing blue eyes and the way that he looks at you, like he's looking at you like X-ray vision. Right. He's looking through you and he's like, right, let me see if I can get past the skin into the meaty parts. Like he's terrifying. Good film. I recommend it.
Okay. Yeah. No, obviously it's like a classic, isn't it? So.
Yeah, I do recommend it. I've seen it twice, and yeah, dude, like I think it's good. But anyway, right. Track number 11. So close, so far.
Yeah.
Okay, the opening of this song is amazing. Piano music for the win.
Piano's beautiful.
However, it's driving me insane. It is from something. I know it is from something. Like that, right? And I don't know what it is. And it is genuinely, I'm not looking up any cheats or anything like that. I'm not looking it up. But it is. It's just
get there with your mind.
Get there.
I've been trying to do that recently.
This song
look things up straight away.
Yeah, that's it, man. I've got to exercise the old grey matter, man. But this song is amazing. Like, and I even think he says like it's like a piece of art. I like it. I love the relationship advice, like part of it. It basically says love takes work. And I think that it's a really, I think it's just awesome. I really do. I really like it. Track number 12, Celebrate the Memories. Beastie Boy references all day. This is the one with MCA. But anyway,
great uplifting vibes, isn't it? And it's weird how this album slowly starts to end in a more emotional kind of hopeful way compared to the beginning. The unimaginable melancholy.
Yeah, that's it.
Midtown or whatever.
It felt like the first two songs were like a traumatic event happens, like in track 1, and track 2 is the emotional aftermath of that.
Yeah.
And then it sort of goes into Midtown. So he's like kind of like, all right, fine, I got to regroup and kind of go back into the familiar. What is familiar to me? Midtown's familiar to me.
Yeah.
And then he goes on, it's kind of like, you're suffering like maybe it's like the loss of his kid or something like that, or a breakup, or because I think he's divorced, like he's had a long old divorce, right? And like horrible custody battle. Maybe it's like something like that, is the catalyst for the beginning of the music. But then when he gets into like track 4, it's almost like that kind of, you're in that grief stage again, you're in fight or flight mode, just like, you don't like me, I don't like you. Then you get to Powerful, and this is where the healing, I believe, starts.
I would agree with that.
I think that's where he
starts
just
to flex a bit more with like G lollipops, superhero pool parties, having fun with his kid. You know,
that's it.
Patron, he's going and doing his own thing.
Yeah,
that sort of stuff. And then, you know, obviously it's not an upward straight line battle of healing, straight line recovery of healing. Because there's Lean Story, Lo-Fi Nights, so far. And then it's backwards Celebrate. You know, so it's healing is not a straight line. It's not just you go from down to up and then becoming normal. You know, I have to remind people that sometimes when, you know, sometimes people say, you know, if they ask you, "Oh, are you feeling better?" Blah blah blah. They stay with you during your time if you've opened up to them about how you're not feeling good, or you're feeling, you know, you're in a down part in your life or whatever. Enough time passes, some people just assume that you've just got better because you were on the up and up, right? And they just assume, well, oh, I thought that was done now. It's like, no,
not everyone's like that. It's
like it's a squiggle. It's not a
correct.
It's not a straight line of just up until I plateau, or the next time I go down. It's a kind of, if I really want it to go on the up and up, there's parts where it goes back down again.
Of course.
Parts where it goes sideways.
That's it.
And I go back up and then back down and all that sort of shit. Yeah, that's a great way of looking at this album. Actually, I've never really delved in that deep in terms of it as a whole body of work like that. You know, in terms of that just makes me love it even more. It's even, I didn't know that you could add more layers of enjoyment to this, which I already had. Do you know what I mean?
No, bro. This is why this is why I do this. You know what I mean, bro?
This is why we do this, bro.
This is why, you know what I mean? But I think that it is, you know, this album is leading, you know, on the up, basically, like with like Vows. I mean,
what a song.
So this took me back to my wedding day. I was standing next to my wife, in front of my wife, just looking at the priest, just like I was there. Like,
right.
I've never, genuinely, it made me miss my wedding day. Like, I was like, holy shit. Yeah. Never, since the wedding day happened, I know I had the best day of my life. Genuinely, it's the best day of my life, I think. Okay, second best day of my life. You know, son's birth, but then wedding straight after. Like, it's impossible. But like the piano, like it's almost like Robert Glasper levels of. There are a couple of little like phrases that like that happen, and a couple of little like descending notes that go on, and I'm like, oh, it's like Robert Glasper. It's like being covered in blue. It's like being covered in blue. It's beautiful.
There's something about it reminds me of a certain time, and I don't know if that's taking me back to the time when I first discovered MURS, and then that kind of music, like, you know, branching out into that kind of hip hop, and then hearing this kind of took me back to that, because it's like, yeah, he's still doing that. He's just doing it better. He keeps getting better and updating his sound and everything. And I remember hearing like So Close, So Far and Vows. Yeah, the pianos in that and the beats. It's just, it took me somewhere I hadn't even been, you know.
Honestly,
I've never had a wedding day, but I was there with him, watching his memory.
But this is the thing, like, I was there with him. I was in my own memory. Like it was just like this mirror, basically. I could see sort of his wedding day and like mine happening at the same time. Like, I mean, dude, this is a dude that I wish the absolute best for, like, on his journey. Like, I couldn't believe how much it resonated with me. The violins in this, bro, like, come on.
I was really hoping, it would have this impact.
Bro, like, I was sat there and I was just like, this is like wonderful. Like, it's just wonderful music. Like, you know,
I love the if I should go prematurely, it's just like all those other nights you had me coming early, laughing at all my jokes and shit, the type of stuff that other folks deem inappropriate. I love that rhyme scheme.
Yeah, man.
And the JK, LOL, you know, your father probably, if he hears this, or if he just sees me, probably tell me go to hell. Oh well. And then he goes into if I should go prematurely. Like, it's so simple, his lines and his delivery, and he's not overly. And I think it's cool that we made the Book of Ryan comparison earlier by chance, because someone like Royce is a different MC to MURS, but I think that they could probably go head to head for different reasons. And you could almost be like, ah, shit. Okay. In one hand, I really love Royce's kind of technical ability and the way he's saying his stuff and all the rhyme patterns and stuff. But on the other hand, I love the way MURS is just so straight up to the point and so relatable, you know, that kind of thing.
Instant relatability. Like Royce has got levels, but so like MURS as well, though. I mean,
MURS has still got levels. You don't need to be lyrical, miracle, spiritual for that.
Yeah, he speaks in a way that is just amazing.
So good, yeah, so good.
I mean, what else have I got to say? I said this is the most commercial that the album gets, in my opinion, but I think it's a really hopeful and honest song. Having been married for 2 years, this resonates. He's a Crip, isn't he? Because he references blue a lot, and I can't remember if he actually outwardly says it. I think he references the color blue quite a lot. I don't know this.
I never picked up on that.
Yeah, I
was from memory.
Yeah, I was just wondering if he is. But I've written it definitively here, which has kind of thrown me. I was like, he's a Crip, isn't he? References blue a lot. I'm like, I don't know. But yeah, and track number 14.
God is the greatest.
So I said, yes, he is. I like the old school feel of the music, and I think it's a really, really brave way to end the album. Just giving thanks to something that is way bigger than you. Like I mean, dude, look, I've already waxed lyrical on this flipping on this album. This gets, I mean, see, I was going to give it an 8.
Okay.
But I might give it an 8.5.
Okay.
Do I think it's a classic? Like, we're talking 9s are classics for me. I don't know if it gets there, but I think this album, when we revisit it in a year or two or whatever, this might go up. This might go up. Because every time I listen to it, I just like it that bit more. Like, and I can't believe
this is an album to be proud of making.
I feel proud listening to it.
Same. I feel proud being a fan of it.
Yeah, I think that he should be really happy with this body of work. Like it's just brilliant. Yeah, this gets an 8.5, bro.
Yeah. I don't think it's a classic in my sense of when I think about classics. Classics have to be determined over time and by the culture. You know, an album can still be amazing. You
can still I think at the time.
I don't know. No,
I think you do.
I think you can hear albums and think there's no way this is not going to be a classic, considered a classic. So when I heard Spin for Butterfly, I knew that was going to be something that's going to stick around forever. But when there are some albums, like I didn't know 808s and Heartbreak was going to be a classic. So I didn't know that hip hop was going to move in that direction.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, like, I wouldn't put 808s and Heartbreak as a classic album for me.
But it is though.
I don't think it is.
But you see the whole soundscape of hip hop.
It's ahead of its time.
As a result of it.
But then is Justin Timberlake's Future Sex and Love Sounds a classic album? Because that's exactly what it did for the pop industry.
Then it would be a classic album. A classic album doesn't have to be an album you like. It doesn't at all. A classic, the reason it's classic.
Yeah, but is it even classed as a classic album? Like, I don't think people give it the...
Well, it depends. Okay, we'd have to look into that discussion. But I personally don't think that people have to... I think people mix up classic albums with albums they like. And I don't think that necessarily has to be the case. So, you know, I mean, Thriller is an obvious classic. Why? Because of the impact it had on the music industry. Right?
I'm raising my hand, right? So I asked my parents about this, right? And I said, did you know at the time when you were listening, because it's easy for them to paraphrase and all of that, like they might not be able to remember, but they said, we knew we were listening to gold at the time. It was an event. It was a complete event. We knew at the time. I believe that you can still do that. Like, there were people on the Kanye train. Yeah, I was just going to say, there were people on the Kanye train that were like, 808s and Heartbreaks is ahead of its time. It's brilliant. At the time, I remember having conversations. I was like, no, I hate it. But I suppose, if
but that's the thing, right? Some people know in advance.
Yeah.
This is going to be I reckon some people heard To Pimp a Butterfly and were like, oh, what is this jazzy funk shit? I'm not with that. Or you know, because I knew people at uni who, you know, especially uni at my age as well. If you were in your 20s or late or early 20s or whatever, you're about like 19 to 21 as you go through uni. You kind of start at,
Yeah,
like
18 to 21, right?
18 to 21, right? And then obviously there's some exceptions or whatever. So around that time, unless you were really into hip hop, you know, I knew people there that liked Kendrick because of Good Kid, Mad City, because of the beats. They were so accessible, and that brought out why they liked Kendrick. You know, they really saw Kendrick for who he was because they loved the beats were so accessible. So then they actually listened to Kendrick. To Pimp a Butterfly, though, was completely out of their wheelhouse, and they were like, oh, what's this shit? He's just trying to be different to be different. Someone like me, who's really into hip hop and really into the genre and just it happens to be into that kind of music in general, I was thinking, nah, this is going to change shit, right? This is going to cause an impact. But there are some albums that I heard and either liked or just didn't really care for, had no idea that they were going to have that staying power, either because I just wasn't thinking in that direction, or I just wasn't a big fan of that person, or I just couldn't predict that sound would then, you know, gain traction. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes it takes a couple years for that to happen. 808s and Heartbreaks was like 2008.
2008,
but then that actual sound shift happened in around 2012, right? 2011, 2012, that kind of dark, moody, atmospheric trap and autotune rapping and singing blend kind of came in. Drake kind of came in 2009, was So Far Gone, but even then it wasn't obvious because he was one of the few. Kid Cudi, one of the few. Do you know what I mean? And then a few years later, it became, right, this is everywhere. And then you trace it all back and it's like, oh shit, 808s and Heartbreak.
Yeah.
No wonder.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's where it was. That was the starting point. But back then you wouldn't have been able to tell because it was so kind of
it was
slow.
Out there.
It was out there and it was so slow, right? Whereas Good Kid, Mad City, 2012, the years after that, 2014, 15.
Good times, man.
Yeah, good. Yeah, really good times, especially for music, right? Especially for hip hop, because it was starting to gain its traction back from its slump. But then you had YG, you had Logic, Under Pressure, you had 2014 Forest Hills Drive by J. Cole. All albums you could say were inspired by Good Kid, Mad City, right?
Yeah.
The influence. You could see that everyone now was incorporating the skits into their albums and creating lengthy stories and concepts and stuff, right? As a result of that. So I think, you know, you don't necessarily have to enjoy an album. I don't think the classic status, I think in a generic sense, or what's the word? Colloquial sense, people might sit and talk and say, oh yeah, that album classic. I get what they mean when they say that. Or, oh, that song, what a classic. I know what they mean when they say that. But I think when we are actually talking about like certified classics, like if we're taking away all bias and taking away our kind of personal, general kind of talkative nature and actually discussing it, I think that we can say like, yeah, this album is a classic. We've seen what it's done. We've seen the waves it's made, the impact.
Fair
you know
enough.
what I mean? I think that's how I've seen people discuss it, and that's what changed my view on it as well. Because like, I don't know, in some albums I can't tell. I don't know if they're classics. I don't know enough about that particular genre or that particular sound. I can't tell you if Dangerous by MJ is a classic. I would say, just in general conversation to you, oh, Dangerous, what a classic. But if we sit and debate,
I don't know if it is,
and actually analyze, we know if it's a classic or if it was just one of the great albums that came out in the 90s, because it can be that and not be a classic. You know,
I don't think it's a classic.
Yeah, because you could say, well, what did it change going forward? Right? We'd have to look that up. We'd have to see what was the impact, what was the waves. Ask the people who were there and the people who are still here now, and say, bro, you know, they might say, bruv, you listening to that tune there, that came from MJ back in, you know, what he did with the New Jack Swing thing. New Jack Swing was around before, but what MJ did with it, suddenly after that, every artist was doing that. They might say that. Then it would be like, oh, okay, I guess you can then claim its certified classic status.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've heard anyone say that though. MJ feels like he was inspired by the New Jack Swing sound as opposed to pushing it to the forefront. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah, that's my long classic album spiel. But yeah, I need order and certified facts when we talk about some of this stuff.
You know what? Yeah. In all fairness, like that could be another idea, like another string to add to the bow of the show.
Oh, 100%. I'd love to discuss.
Is it a classic? And then we'll just talk about like, is it a classic?
100%.
Why is it a classic?
Especially for older albums.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like that's one thing, like I know that we, you and I obviously enjoy hip hop. And I know this podcast has been, it's been dominated by hip hop, but that's cool, right?
Yeah, it probably has been, yeah.
Can't wait to get like there's so many good classic albums out there. I mean, we ain't even touched like the Isley Brothers.
Oh yeah.
Can't
I'd love
wait.
to dive into some of that stuff. Like properly.
Yeah, some of their it's the musicality that I can't wait to get into. So yeah, man. And
like Parliament Funkadelic, that stuff's classic.
Yeah.
Because I mean you wouldn't have Dr. Dre, you wouldn't have G-Funk, you wouldn't have P-Funk. But then that stuff is also classic because then that also then sparked the next wave of things. And also not even sparking the next wave, it was just so different,
exactly.
to the rest of the culture. There was nothing like the Chronic before the Chronic.
Yeah,
in hip hop.
Oh, so, for real.
Yeah, things like that. Rakim, Eric B. and Rakim, I think that's considered a classic. The first album, even though some people say the second album was better. See, this is where I think the distinction comes in. Some people say the second album was better, but the first one is the classic because the first one is the one that ushered in the new wave of we're not just going to rap for parties. I'm actually going to rap as a poet. And
exactly
deep lyricism and rhyme schemes and all that sort of shit.
Yeah, Rakim was. I still love some of his stuff, man. I still love it. Like it's just so good, and he sounds,
so good.
Like
he sounds so smooth.
Yeah, do you know what? He's almost like, to me, he's like proto Common. It's almost like
right, yeah.
I just get this like impression of a big, tall, proud, languid man just rapping. I've just got this kind of, I don't know, like every time like I listen to Rakim or Common, I've just got this, I just feel like, I don't know, it's almost like you're being sort of like hugged with honey. Like they're just so sort of, their voices have got such like depth and warmth to
like
them.
Honey soaked wood oak. It's all these words that kind of
it's being hugged by like orange and brown, like amber warmth.
Yes.
Like
amber
sunshine. Like, do you know what I mean? Like
I know exactly. Yeah. 100%.
Like,
that's what I visualize too.
We are so blessed to be living in the time that we have, like with regards to the amount of music that we can look back on. Like I've said it how many, podcasts and stuff. Like it's just so exciting to actually be able to, talk about our feelings towards the music, but as well as being able to see the linear effects that some of those albums have had. So yeah, man, when we get back
100%.
into, I mean James Brown is one of the baddest. I mean, he was super bad, man. Like one of my favorite, like honestly, he's one of my favorite characters. Apparently a bit of an arsehole. Well, a massive arsehole.
Have you seen the movie?
I haven't. No, I haven't.
You should see the movie. It's got
only.
What's the guy? Fuck. No, I can't forget his name. Black Panther. What's his name?
Chadwick Boseman.
Chadwick. I knew it was a Chadwick Boseman.
Oh, okay, rest his soul. Gone too soon.
Yeah. He's in so many great films.
Yeah. Well, I haven't seen that many of him. I like him as. I think I like him as a person, as opposed to like his acting chops, because I've only seen him I only saw him in Civil War, Black Panther, and there's a film on Amazon where he's like a copper and he's chasing like
I
can't remember. It's got like
is it like Bridges?
Sienna Miller, 21 Bridges,
something like that. Yeah, he's in I was just telling my friends about some other films, that Ma Rainey's something about the singer Ma Rainey. Was that her name? I probably butchered it, but yeah,
I think I know the one.
Great in that. Yeah.
There's also The Five Bloods, which I still haven't
Five
seen
Bloods.
yet.
That's it. Yeah, I started that, but I didn't get through it all. I need to start that again. But Chadwick Boseman. Why did I bring him up? Oh yeah, because he played James Brown, and I didn't realize it until I went back and watched it. And I was like, oh shit, that's Chadwick. I was like, oh damn, because I only then recognized him because of Black Panther, like when he became like a household name. But yeah, yeah, but no, James Brown. I don't think it was 100% the best guy.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
But I mean, we're talking about the guy who influenced so many amazing artists.
Prince, MJ, come on.
Yeah, and that funky drum break has been used throughout so many hip hop songs. Yep. There's no way that guy himself is just not a classic artist and has not had classic material.
Definitely, man. We are living in some good times. But yeah, man, I'm not picking a top 5 from this album because just listen to this album because it's
just listen to this album. Listen to it.
I really like it. I think it's
so good.
I was good.
I was glad you didn't just come in and be like, yeah, dude, it was good. Yeah, good.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like it was like as soon as he started on the first song, it was like he had my attention and he sort of had a direct line into it. It's like he plugged into my heart. It was just really weird. Like I don't really have that with a lot of artists. I'm actually quite difficult to move, I think.
I remember you said that, yeah.
Yeah, it's not because I'm emotionally stunted. It's just because I'm hard as fuck.
Yeah, right. Don't fuck with me.
Like, I'm hard as fuck, mate. Yeah, mate. Nah, yeah. But yeah, man, amazing. Right, I am going to give you an album by a hip hop duo, and they are called the Doppelgangers.
I've heard of them.
Yeah, man. The album is Dop Hop, released in 2017. Yeah, DOPP. HOPP. Yeah.
I don't even know why I've heard of them.
Yeah, well, I think they're pretty big on like Twitter and stuff. I think they've got like a really big underground following.
I'm not surprised. Like, I just seem to know who they are, but I've never listened to them. And the other day, I think I got them. I think I saw them. I think you mentioned them to me one time, and when you did, I thought of the Gravediggers, I think because of the AZ at the end.
Right.
And then I was like, no, that's not who. Gravediggers is a different group from way back.
Yeah.
Doppelgangers, I was like, no, but I have heard of them. I'm just not sure where.
There is, you know what, we'll get to it. There's just such a feel of homage in this album, especially on one song where I was like, this is awesome. Like, I don't know. Okay. Anyway, I can't wait to get into it, actually. I haven't listened to it in a while myself.
Fair dues.
But I loved it. Yeah, man. Nice. Cool. We're going to wrap up. This has been a long episode, I suppose. It's been tangent-filled, this one.
It's been tangent-filled, yeah.
Wow. It seems that we're back on form because usually we're just laser focused.
Yeah, recently we have been laser focused. I mean, we've even had episodes under an hour.
Can you believe it?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I went back and looked at the length of some of our older ones.
Oh yeah.
Shit.
There's no way that they were.
That was very, very unsustainable.
Yeah, and we're a no edit. We're basically two lazy fucks, so we don't
limited edits.
Yeah, limited edits. We're trying to act like that's part of our shtick. It's not. We're just fucking lazy as shit. Speaking from fine. I was gonna say speaking for myself, but yeah, no, both of us. It's just raw, unfiltered, uncut. That's what it is.
That's it.
Yeah,
man.
It's what it is, man. How long did we go for this one?
You know what? I think it's about an hour and 20.
That's not too bad.
An hour and 20?
2 hour mark.
Maybe an hour and 40. I don't know. Do you know what? I didn't actually look at the time.
Fair dues, man. Fair dues. I reckon it's been an hour and a half.
Boom. Let's do it. That's all good.
Yeah. Cool.
I'm happy about that. Well, man. Well, no, it's going to be nice and short this week. Look, thank you very much for listening to us. As ever, we're on the socials. We're sort of scaling back these days. Like we were doing we were doing like stereo talks and all of that. We haven't done that for weeks and weeks. We're just basically doing what Monday motivations on Twitter and Insta, and then Tuesday weekly episode drops.
I feel like the less is more approach.
Because in all fairness, like life is busy and it's about to get busy. So
especially for you,
which is fine. Next time we drop an episode, I might have a little screaming baby in tow, so he's going to make so he's going to be making an appearance on podcasts and that. Don't worry about that. It's going to be all good. But anyway, apart from that lovely, wonderful news, look, listeners, old and new, thank you very much for hanging out with us. We'll be back next week on a more regular time frame and all that. We'll be here. Be here, bro. So
we'll be here. We out here.
Good people. It's a pleasure. Thank you very much. Peace.